Personnel and Human Services Committee to order at 7 o'clock. And we have two guests today, special guests. And first, I would like, before I make any kind of motion, I would like to have Dion, come up to the podium, please. And
do you still go by Diane?
Dion.
No,
Diane.
Diane, just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay.
I'll answer anything else.
Diane. I'm trying to say it over and over so I get it right.
Diane. Yeah, I got cousins that pronounce it Dione, but whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, you have been nominated, well, at least by the mayor.
Yes.
He's presenting your name for two items: the licensing board and as a constable.
Yes.
And I can only presume that some of the folks up here know you, but would you please introduce yourself to us?
My name is Thomas E. Dion. Retired 5 years ago from the police department, retired as a lieutenant in 2015 after a 30-year career. Did another a little over 5 years doing details out there in the hot sun, directing traffic. Figured that was enough after 5 years, so now I'm really retired. So I spoke to the mayor's office, said I would be interested in some volunteering positions, left it up to him to decide what he thought I would be best at after I gave him a copy of my resume, and this is what he thought I would be the best fit for me in the city.
So you took pot luck.
Absolutely.
What you came
Yes.
back with.
Yes.
Well, what I'd like to invite anybody who wants to ask you any questions.
Absolutely.
What were the two committees now?
The licensing board and as a constable. I believe we have 3 constables in the city.
Okay.
Yes. And this was Tony's spot.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Please.
Thank you very much for volunteering.
Oh, you're welcome, sir.
We go back a long way,
Yes, we do, and
Right.
with my father, too.
and I have the utmost respect for you.
Thank you.
And I know that in you volunteering, it's for the city of Attleboro and their constituents.
Absolutely.
I don't feel you will be binding to any particular person in these 2 positions.
No,
You have a mind of your own.
I do.
You've always said it.
I do.
And I honestly believe you'll do a good job, and I would support you in both positions.
Thank you. You know, Attleboro's been very good to me my whole life. I was born here, raised here, Attleboro High School, class of '76. That's the spirit. Lived here once I came back from college, did my whole police career here, raised 2 boys here, my 2 sons, and this is my new wife, Wilma. Just got married 2 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations, newlyweds. No
Thank
wonder
you.
she got
There
a
you go.
smile.
She's a good girl. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to share?
How are the boys?
Boys are doing well, actually. Yeah, my oldest boy just got his CDL. He's all excited. He got a raise, and you know how it is for the young people. They don't seem to want to do the CDL anymore, but hey, he did it, and his job is loving him.
Nice.
Over it. My son Andrew is still a cell attendant over at the police station,
Oh,
so
great.
he likes doing that part time. Yeah, and doing a little school.
See, keeping them right local.
I'm telling you, absolutely. Yep.
Thanks, Tom, for volunteering. We
Oh, you're welcome,
appreciate
Kate.
it. I
You're
wish you
welcome.
the best in
Thank you. Again, I hope it works out good for myself and the city, because again, I do like the
Congratulations.
city and I want to give back to it. So
great. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Councilor
I'll
Reynolds.
just say ditto to both of those, because I know you do a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anybody else? Okay. So if you don't mind staying there for a moment,
Oh, absolutely.
I'll make the motion, and we're going to do two separate motions. So to begin with, I would, from the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Thomas Dion, 17 Harvard Street, to fill an unexpired term on the licensing board, term to expire February 2025.
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments, questions?
I think we
probably just covered it. I certainly am delighted, and as we all are. And so I call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the vote passes 3-0. Thank you. And stay for a second motion.
I will.
And from the docket of March March 17th as well, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Thomas Diane, 17 Harvard Street, to fill an expired term as a constable, term to expire February 2021.
Second.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, thoughts? And so I will, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. And we thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
And I thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes,
Council
that
next
is
week,
fine.
And then the
And
following
and next
Explain-
week, the
yeah.
entire council will take this motion up.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. And
Appreciate it.
congratulations again to both of you.
And now we have another guest, and a very important guest as well, from the docket of March 17th, 2020. I want to introduce you first before the motion to David Bliss. And my guess is that I'm not introducing you to a stranger in many cases here.
No.
And we thank you very much for your interest in the Board of Trust Fund Commissioners, of which there are 3 commissioners, and you're filling a vacancy. And if you would like to share with us a little bit about yourself, assuming that a few of us might not know you, and your interest in this position.
Name is David Bliss, also a lifelong resident of Attleboro, but graduated 5 years earlier in '71. Worked all my working life in Bliss Dairy. I've been retired just over 5 years by a few days after we unfortunately sold the business because it didn't make it to a 4th generation. I have 2 children, one in Houston, married with 2 children, and my daughter is actually living behind the dairy at the end of East Street in my father's old house, and she has 2 children, and her husband works in Boston. My wife, Donna, is very active in civic environment, a former school committee person, very, very active in anything she does. I've served on trust committees for the church, my church at Second Church. I was on the library trustees previously, and I'm on the Attleboro Scholarship Foundation Board and trustee. I think that's about it.
Yes, Counselor.
David, we're very fortunate to have you step up. Local businessman, know what it's all about, finances. And yeah, you did very well there. But your caliber of person volunteering for these jobs is very, very important. I was glad to see your name
Bless you.
come down.
Thank you.
I think you'll do an excellent job, and your resume and your work ethics and your experience in life will go a long way on that trust fund. We thank you.
Yes, would anybody else like to say a word or two? I certainly will. I'm absolutely delighted that you're willing to take this position. And one thing we were talking about before the meeting is that all the scholarships at the city level for the high school, mostly, they are also approved by the Board of Trust Fund Commissioners. There's a lot of different items that fall under the trust category, and you'll learn it just as I began to learn it the other day when Laura was telling me. Is there somebody over here?
Me.
Okay, right here.
Thank you very much.
Please.
Hi, David.
Hey.
So David happens to live in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a biker, big walker, both him and Donna all the time. Yeah. No, but, I mean, you've had recent surgeries, but you've recovered so well, I think. And Donna was just recently working at the polls. So I welcome you to the Trust Fund Commissioners Board. Thank you very much for volunteering.
No problem, thank you.
So with that, we will go forward. From the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of David Bliss, 43 Nathaniel Payne Road, to fill an expired term on the Board of Trust Fund Commissioners, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There is nobody opposed here in the
Thank you.
committee. And we thank you very much, and we will bring this to the entire council next week.
I should be here to.
No,
No, you don't need to be. You're all set.
Thank
You can always come when you want to, though.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Have a good evening. And also, from the docket of March 17th, 2020, we were going to have all the Youth Commission here this evening, but we'll have to put that off to another evening because Councilor Delicio, is handling business today. So he's not with us, and we'll set that up again. But from the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Jack Bennett to fill an expired term on the Youth Commission, term to expire February 2023.
Second.
Thank you. And I have a feeling we probably have filled most of the vacancies, if not all of them. I attended the Youth Commission's meeting last week, as did Councilor Kobus, and I got to tell you, I was extremely impressed. They do good work, and especially in the area of climate change. There's going to be some new trees going in.
They're a great group of kids.
That was an impressive experience, just listening to them talk. So I thought Jack was going to be here, but he will be back, I'm sure, when everybody from the Youth Commission finally comes. So, we have a second? We have a second.
Ms. Reynolds
So,
did.
so all those in favor of Jack Bennett?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
That's okay. So, and then again, so the motion passes. From the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the following reappointments to positions and for terms as indicated. So there's five names here. First, John Bennett to the Board of Recreation Commissioners for a 3-year term, February 2023. We'll do this in a group. Terrence McCrossan, Constable, 1 year, February 2021. Andrew Wayland, Counsel on Substance Abuse Prevention, 3 years, February 2023. Rachel Legend, Counsel on Substance Abuse Prevention, 1 year, February 2021. Scott Haran, Traffic Study Commission, 3 years, February 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I've talked to 4 of these 5 individuals and left a message with Rachel Legend, who is already serving. And they all called me back, the 4 of them that I talked to, and are extremely interested. And so I believe we can go forward. Is there any questions?
No, just a comment.
Please.
These, excuse me, these are all reappointments, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay. You will be inviting new appointments to come before us before you bring your motion down,
Oh,
correct?
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I've done that all along.
Council Waterman?
Yes.
May I just make a comment?
Please.
As to Mr. Scott Horan and his reappointment to the Traffic Study Commission, I've only worked with Scott at 2 meetings, but I have found him to be an informed, intelligent, interested, and important member of that group, so I'm happy to see that he's been reappointed.
Absolutely. Yeah, he really enjoys it. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay. Do we have a second? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so with that, passes, and that concludes the business this meeting, and we'll meet at the next appropriate time.
Public Safety Emergency Management is canceled this evening.
Oh,
Excuse me.
excuse me, motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're adjourned.
Public Safety Emergency Management is canceled this evening. We have no business.
Good evening, friends. I'm going to call the Transportation and Traffic Committee together at 7:15. Welcome, Councilors Conti and Reynolds. Good news. The Traffic Study Commission and I had a wonderfully productive meeting last week, and several items are now going to be moving forward. The first of those, just by way of update, from the docket of March 17th, 2020, relating to communication from Mr. and Mrs. Walsh of Newport Avenue about the situation at May Street, Newport Ave. That issue remains before the Traffic Study Commission for further thought and consideration as to any possible relief or resolutions we can bring not only to the Walshes but to other people along that road. So that's open for further discussion. I entertain a motion to strike from the docket of February 4th, where the council voted on May 30th, 2017, to amend section 10-5.2A of the revised ordinances of the city of Attleboro, prohibited on certain streets to include Angeline Street, both sides. A business, do I need to know, all right, a business owner on Angeline Street asked for this ordinance to be changed and requests to revisit this issue to see if a different solution can be made.
Second.
Thank you. We discussed this. I also ran it by Chief Hegney and Superintendent Mike Tyler to gauge their interest in revisiting this issue. Their minds have not changed. The Traffic Study Commission was in accord. So at this point in time, I don't think there's anything we can do. I'm sympathetic to the business owner, but I don't think we'll make any action on this, so I'm moving to strike.
Second.
Any questions?
A second?
I second.
I second.
Okay, I didn't hear you.
Thank you. As to Councilor Dolan's motions from the docket of January 21st.
Oh, you have to take.
Oh,
the vote.
I'm sorry, thank you. May I have a, what do I say? I just blanked out.
Call for a vote.
All in favor? I'd like to call for a vote for the motion to strike.
Discussion.
Can I,
I thought I did call for discussion, forgive me.
I know I just thought of something. I think that this is the second time this has been brought up, and it does seem to me like it's, I don't know what the solution could be, but that street is now being used a lot more because there's a plaza at the end.
Chick-fil-A and stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
so, but they're really, I don't see how parking could be on that street. It's very challenging.
And for those who may not remember, or for those in the audience, Chief Hegney, and as you all probably recall, one of the issues was the concern about emergency vehicles turning, and if parking were allowed on one side, that could prohibit or slow down those vehicles. So that issue hasn't changed. That concern remains. So I don't know what the solution would be at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
I know that was quite well vetted on this council in order to decide how to park on the street, the width of the street. We had a lot of input from the neighbors, the company in the plaza, even did some blacktop work for neighbors across the street, so they had some off-street parking on their own side. I agree with you. I think that's the best solution down there for what we got. And that wasn't something that was rushed through. That took a lot of work on this council to come up with. Maybe not satisfy everybody, but I think 99% of them were when they left. So
Yeah, I think that was the
I
general
think it's the right
consensus.
decision.
All right, so all those in favor of the motion to strike?
Aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed? All right, thank you, motion passes. As to the items from the docket of January 21st, 2020, and Councilor Dolan's request for the installation of a rectangular rapid flashing beacon on Wall Street at South Main Street crosswalk.
Second.
Thank you. That is continuing, Councilor Dolan, further pending further developments and construction over there, and issues, there were concerns about paying for this item, so that's still pending.
That was not a motion, that was just a discussion?
Yes, thank you,
Thank you.
yes, and just an update, same thing with the other one, Councilor Dolan. Yes, Mr. Cooper?
So, are you at this time asking the council to strike? Or your
Nope,
committee
sorry,
to
that was
strike?
just an update. If I said strike, strike that from the record, that was a mistake. That is just an update on those issues, they remain on the table before the Traffic Study Commission.
So, just a follow-up
Yes.
comment. Having walked that crosswalk for many, many years.
Yep.
Something has to be done over there with the changes that are ongoing with development. And I wouldn't be in favor of striking if we didn't, if it came down to funding, I think we have to, we should approve putting it and let the mayor sort out how to fund if you've ever driven down toward Wheaton, you will see these in action. And there's no excuse for not stopping in those crosswalks in front of Wheaton, because you can certainly see
There's one on County
what goes
Street.
on. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
one now on
Down
County
those.
Street.
Yep.
Good call out, Council Dolan. So I think that area is, you know, transit-oriented development and only going to get more intense. And I think if the Traffic Study Commission thinks that these are a good solution to the crossing problem there, then I think, you know, my vote would be different. If they didn't think they were good ideas, if they thought there were other mitigating things that could happen, then I would be okay with that. But I think at the time of, sort of when it comes to being more concrete in what it might look like, having that discussion, I think, is important.
Understood.
We want more people to come through that area.
Right. Understood,
Right.
and it's still pending.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, Counselor Dolan?
So, and I had said to Kathleen, I know that they had talked about it, she had informed me, you know, to keep me updated, and I said that I want it done, like they had suggested, maybe when Renaissance, whatever the new one is, north or south, I forget, is complete, and I didn't really wanna wait, because if anybody that's been down there, the opening of that road is really wide, so it's a long crosswalk, so it takes a long time to get across that. And there are people in Renaissance Station that are disabled, and if you've been up there, people like just come right up, cause you can't see until you get up close to South Main Street, which I understand, but they don't stop first, they just cruise right up to the end of the street through the crosswalk. So I do have, what do you call it, the work order for the ARA, because the ARA got actually a bunch of money to spend on transit-oriented items. So I haven't, it's 40 pages, honestly, I'm sorry, I haven't looked through it to see if this is on there, but we might be able to use the money from what the ARA got to pay for this.
That'd be great.
I just have to see it's on the work order, because they already had the work order approved, so they can't add or delete anything. So either way, I don't wanna give up on this, because I really think it's needed there, and it's really important for people to be able to have time to get across. But thank you for, you know, updating me and everything on that too.
Understood, you're welcome. Counselor Jackson?
Thank you. So maybe at some point in discussions with the mayor, he can have discussions with the developer of Renaissance South, and maybe they can work out something that can perhaps be part of their mission.
Got it. Thank you, Vice President Jackson. I would move to approve from the docket of January 21st, 2020, the installation of a stop sign on Nichols Way and Ritchie Road.
Second.
So this suggestion also came from Councilor Dolan. Both Chief Hegney, Superintendent Tyler, and the commission believe that this is a good idea, so we're gonna move forward on that.
Good.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
President Cooper.
President Cooper, forgive me.
So, in full support, because I know exactly where this is, but I wonder if it's Nicholas, not Nichols.
I think it is Nicholas.
It's what?
I'm almost
I
certain
will
that it
blame
is.
Councilor Dolan for that error, but I will not.
Wait,
I will double it.
let's find out first if it's
Yeah.
Nicholas and Nichols.
I will certainly have that.
You can do a friendly amendment next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would vote it now, but I would, I almost
You could
100% certain that
should
it's
change
Okay.
that
Nicholas.
next week. Scribble it
It's
down.
after Nicholas Catanacci, who built Bob Catanacci built the
I think so,
development,
too.
and I think he named the street after his son, Nicholas, but I could be
Alright.
wrong.
Sorry.
I went out there last week to drive through and look at where this was, as I was out looking at some of these other pieces of business and out scouting about. And so I went over there to see. I was surprised that there wasn't a stop sign there
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, we thought the same thing on the traffic study. President Cooper, should I wait?
No, vote it tonight
Okay.
and make an amendment, but we need to just verify what the intersection is so that we get it right in the ordinance book.
spelling.
I'll leave that to you, because clearly I'm incapable.
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
I'll move to amend your motion to install a sign on Nichols or Nicholas at the intersection of Ritchie Road. That way it's covered.
No, you won't
Okay,
have-
so
won't
that's an
have to
amendment to
change
your
it
motion.
anyway.
Just a spelling.
Fine with me.
Got it
Install a
posted
stop
on the
sign.
floor anyway, that's easy.
at Nichols or Nicholas Way at the intersection of Ritchie Road.
Is it Nichols? Well, would it, you have to get a
Any
second.
other,
I need to get a, what did I just do?
The amendment calls for a second.
Yes.
may I have a second on Mr. Conti's amendment?
I don't think we really need to do that. We're just gonna make a little
have to amend
amendment
it on the
next
floor
week
next
on the
week, yeah.
floor, yeah.
You're gonna have to make it the proper name anyways next week.
Yeah.
Period, end
I
of
think we
story.
just wait.
Why bring it forward with two names?
List of persons.
Okay, the amendment dies.
One second,
For
okay.
lack of a second.
May I call
Wait till
for,
you want something.
may I have a vote on the motion to approve the installation of the stop sign on Nichols or Nicholas Road at the
Aye.
intersection of Ritchie Road?
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
Thank you. We're also, from the docket of January 7, 2020, I would move to approve the installation of a stop sign on Davis Avenue at Pearl Street.
Second.
Thank you. This has been on the, I think before the Traffic Study Commission for a little while. Not a lot of discussion. The members were in favor, so just like to move forward on it. I understand it's kind of a funky intersection, but all agreed that a stop sign would make sense there.
I lived on the east side all my life. I'm trying to figure out where Davis Street is, Pearl Street. Davis.
I don't know the local
It's this
crosswalk.
side, right?
Yeah, it comes like this
Side.
way.
Yeah, it crosses
Like a
Pearl.
kitty corner.
Yes, it's kind of at an
Whereabouts?
angle.
Give me a location.
Pearl,
Yeah, I know where Pearl Street.
yeah. And
I have a
little
street map.
side street.
It's just my own,
Yeah, I'd have to look.
I just can't place a Davis Street. Is it-
Davis Ave,
Huh?
Davis
Davis
Ave,
Ave.
yeah.
He still doesn't know where it is.
Hang on.
Anything. No, never mind.
You
I'll
sure?
go through that. I'll drive down Pearl
I
Street
do have a make
tomorrow.
a stop. Any other comments or questions about the installation of the stop sign at Davis Ave and Pearl Street? May I call for a vote? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. And I think that'll do it. Lastly, we discussed from the docket of January 7, 2020, I move to strike the installation of a stop sign at Commerce Way at Tiffany Street and the installation of a stop sign northbound on Tiffany Street at Commerce Way, thus creating a three-way stop.
Second.
The discussion here centered, if I understood it correctly, on the idea that Commerce Way, the traffic is best to impede uninterrupted without making that a three-way stop sign. I understand the concerns about traffic, but I think the committee, the Traffic Study Commission, felt that the one stop sign there that's already there on Tiffany Street should suffice to control the traffic there, that these signs were perhaps not necessary at this point in time. Comments, questions?
Comment.
Yes.
I went exactly through that spot today, and I had to stop right there on Tiffany, and I watched 3 cars do it correctly.
Yep.
And you're absolutely correct. I don't believe it's needed.
Very good then. Any other comments or questions? I'd like to call for a vote on that motion to strike.
Aye.
All those in favor, thank you. Motion passes. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 7:28 and call for a meeting at the next available date. Thank you all.
You gotta get a second. And then-
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have business that I get this. Thank you very much.
Call the capital improvement meeting to order at 7:20. I have one motion for you tonight. From the docket of March 17, 2020, I entertain a motion to transfer $18,776.95 from account 1124100-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 161010000-527011 public library chiller rental to rent cooling equipment for the library this June 15 to September 15, 2020.
Second.
I think the motion is pretty self-explanatory. The library will not be done by September and needs to be cooled off. Is there any comments or questions or comments, discussion?
To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yep,
You know, you have to protect people and the books.
right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I have no further business to bring before you tonight. However, I want to tell you that there's more work to be done on the parking lots. And I appreciate Council Marvin visiting them, and Council Dolan, if you haven't, try to make time to get over there. I need to have another conversation with Mike Tyler and Mr. Parento or Mr. Furtado before I'm comfortable bringing this motion out. As for the other items that are remaining, I may not be here April 7th, so you may have to do the CDBG without me. But I think we've got an established pattern on that, and it shouldn't be a problem. Councilor Cooper.
Richard, one thing I meant to mention to you when I saw you over the weekend was I got an email from Dorothy. I'm not sure if she included you, that moving it to the 7th was just fine with her timeline. So we didn't anticipate, nor did she anticipate, that it would be a problem, because remember, they requested a different date for the public hearing, but we pushed it out till 4/7. So, you know.
Yeah, her deadline gets critical in May. You
Yes.
know, and she's gonna have to wait for the HUD numbers before that all comes together.
Yeah.
And I don't expect a crowd here on April 7th on this issue. So I think my absence will not be.
Notice.
You know how to watch the tape.
I do. Well,
Stream it live.
I do have want to inform you that I do have a meeting with the mayor this Friday to talk about the 135 County Street property. I've learned a tremendous amount over several hours of conversations and reading of the 135-page appraisal report for the building. And I'm very comfortable in what I have to relay to Ms. Feerick and the mayor on what actions should be taken on that property. So that concludes the business that the Capital Improvement City Development has to bring before you this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor?
Aye.
I declare the Capital Improvements and City Development adjourned at 7:33.
I'd like to call Public Works Committee to order at 7:33. I have one item of business that I intend on bringing out this evening. From the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to transfer $10,000 from account 1124100-5783000 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1630100-524002 Recreation Maintenance of Recreation Grounds to support 3 recreational field projects this spring in partnership with one of the affiliated youth groups.
Second.
Thank you. Should have said, excuse me, youth leagues. Thank you very much, Councilor Dolan. So, this came down from Superintendent Superintendent Recreational, Dennis Walsh. They're working in partnership with the Youth League and the city and the Recreation Revolving Fund to get these 3 field projects done. One is for South Attleboro Lee's Pond softball field diamonds, and Ponson Hewitt baseball diamonds and soccer fields. So they're dividing up, the total fee is $25,000, so they're asking the city for $10,000, and the rest is coming from the youth leagues and from the recreational fund. So that's pretty good. Everybody's sharing in the maintenance of these fields, and we know we have great fields that are going on, and they're taking extra abuse right now because of the Attleboro High School league, fields being offline temporarily. So, and he had warned us about that this was going to happen. So it's nice to see that, he's got a little bit of help coming in financially. Any comments, questions?
I think it's awesome. You drive by the field to see how busy they are. These are important assets to the city and to the kids, so.
We're very fortunate. Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And lastly, I just want to mention, so I had two motions come in last week also, and they both were from the water for replacement of 2 trucks. And I decided to do something a little bit different, because it seems like we always get trucks that are surplus and another department gets them, and that department can run them right to the ground, yet the department that was using them said that they weren't able to use them anymore. So I decided to ask our Public Works Department to please inspect these particular trucks right now, to take a look at them, to be sure that their mechanics agree with the mechanics of this other department, to make sure that, you know, they need to be surplused, and I did discuss that with Superintendent Courtney Wunschel, let her know that I was asking to do that, and I did discuss it with Superintendent Mike Tyler, and he agreed to do that, to inspect them. So once they're inspected by another department, I'll let you know how everything's going, and we'll decide what we're gonna do, okay? And also, I do have one concern, because one of the trucks that's being requested is a Ford 150. In the previous administration, he had only wanted every truck that we replace to be able to carry a plow, because we're in dire need of having plows on every truck. You know, we had that big sign in the center of town that was saying we need people to plow. We're very fortunate this winter we didn't, touch wood, that we're all done with winter, but that we didn't need to, you know, have to run 72 hours constantly with our plows that we have, because we didn't have much snow this year. However, I do question the fact that they are requesting just a 150 instead of either a 250, because a 250 can hold a plow and a 350 can hold a plow, and I'd rather have a plow than not have a plow. So that's another concern that I have. So once these trucks are inspected by another department, we'll see how that goes, and then we'll put it up for discussion again, okay?
Great.
Just
Yes.
one comment, Kate. I was pretty heavily involved with the past administration on the purchase of vehicles. I think he trusted me. The reason that we have suggested over time, even with Kevin's administration, some trucks not to be equipped with a plow, and we just bought one for rec, I believe.
We did.
It doesn't have a plow.
Mhm.
It's not needed. It's a $5,000 plus expense. An F-150 used properly will get 10 years out of it plus. The two trucks at the water department, you're gonna find they're junk. They're absolutely junk. One needs a transmission, it's a motor, it's over 10 years old. The other one's rotted out so bad it won't pass inspection, I believe. Those trucks need to be replaced, but by all means, do your due diligence.
I will.
But an F-150 used properly, I'm a believer in a piece of equipment being bought for the job it's going to do. We are in a problem with plowing. It's because we don't have enough personnel to put in the trucks we got. And outside contractors can't make any money plowing. They really can't. We were short plow trucks, outside contractors, in September, October. They weren't getting the people to apply. But the right truck for the right job, or the right piece of equipment for the right job, is important. And an F-150 for what they're going to use it for is more than enough truck. I can't see spending. Money's tight. I can't see buying something that won't do the job, and we had that a few administrations ago when I first come on, you come on. I mean, those trucks were junk before they were paid for, because they weren't the right truck for the right job. We overused them, wore them out, broke them down. We've got away from that. But an F-150 is a decent truck for what they're going to use it for, more than enough. You're not going to overwork it. But to put a plow on something you don't need, the water department has enough trucks down there with plows on it, new trucks. And they've applied for a truck that's going to be equipped with a plow. So,
We'll investigate that when it gets to it.
I know the gentleman down there that takes care of them, or is responsible for repairing them, is my son. And he knows enough about a vehicle not to tell you a truck isn't worthy of being on the road that somebody else has to come in and oversee it. And I know I'll be in the shit with him tomorrow for bringing it up.
Counselor DeSimone?
Vice President Jackson, I just wanted to say I thought it was a good idea to get another opinion, and I know at the capital improvement meetings, this issue came up. It seems like some departments there's mechanics or handy people at different departments with varying levels of ability, and I'm just wondering, down the road, food for thought, whether there's a better way to do that. I don't know how other cities and towns do it, but it seems like maintenance varies from department to department. Maybe something to consider down the road, but I appreciate your work.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all the business I'm sorry. President Cooper, I apologize.
Thank you.
So turn
Thank
to
you.
the right.
So I agree with your plan, but I'm just gonna say this now, and I'm gonna say it again and again and again until the budget comes out. I'm struggling paying. I need to know what cannot be performed in the absence of these vehicles when we're gonna use $88,000 from retained earnings, and there's a potential to have to use retained earnings to balance the budget with a rate increase. How can we do that without understanding what the gap in service would be in the absence of these vehicles? I won't do it. So I appreciate your efforts, and I need to hear from Courtney if the inspection is, if they are deemed unusable or need replacement. The next question should be anticipated to be from me. What gaps in service do you anticipate with the absence of these vehicles? And how could you plug that hole from now until June, when the new budget comes through the process, so we can truly understand what the impact is to a several $100,000 hit to balance the budget with a rate increase for water and wastewater, and we're about to spend 88 grand out of retained earnings for new trucks. I'm struggling with that. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, President Cooper, and I can promise you that once we do get that inspection letter, whatever it turns out to be, I will, and I intended on having Superintendent Wunschel here at my committee meeting to answer any questions, for sure.
Thank you.
Counselor Doolin?
So, and forgive me because I don't know the ins and outs of the departments and their mechanics. So DPW has a mechanic and
They
the
have
water.
4.
I'm sorry?
They have 4.
Okay, and then the water department has
I think they have 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel kind of torn about having one department legitimize, like I just feel like maybe it should, I don't know if it should be somebody else, because I feel like if we have one department that says we need these trucks, and maybe they do, maybe they don't, maybe they're exaggerating, maybe they're falling apart, I don't know, honestly. But to have another department go in and be like, nah, you don't need these trucks, like, wouldn't that make the water department go, okay, well, we have our own mechanics?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So-
it seems awkward to me.
You have a hairdresser that takes a look at your hair and says, you know what, if you want that color
Do you have to
brown,
go there?
It's just getting a second opinion. That's all we're doing is getting
Yeah,
a
but
second
if you're getting a
opinion.
second opinion from a hairdresser in the same salon,
That's okay, they do, that's what they share, they know what they're doing. And
that gets,
no,
that's
because
just
most
my
of-
opinion.
yeah,
I
and-
just.
And just so you know, when I spoke to Superintendent Tyler, he did say most of the trucks in the city of Attleboro have gone through his building, and they have looked at them, they've worked at them. Like, some mechanics won't even change a tire because it's too hard to get that, whatever that thing is called, off. So they bring them down to the highway yard, and they bring them over there because they have the heavy-duty lift, and they go up there and they boom, boom, and they take them off. But most of the trucks have gone through DPW, so they know what they're like. And a perfect example, too, is think about when we just went down to the DPW yard, and they had all that stuff inside the trucks, like they had all the, they have signs and everything,
Yeah.
trying to hold it all together. And remember they said, like, well, this truck came from a certain department, and we just ran it into the ground. Dennis Walsh ran
Oh, I get your
identical
point
one.
on that, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
So let's just have them take a look. It's not pitting them against each other. It's just, I want another opinion. That's all. And no, there's nothing wrong with it. They have 4 different mechanics, so let them just take a look at it and say, is it, I got you, Diana, I see
Yeah, I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah, so, but that's, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it
Okay.
whatsoever, I just, yeah, but thank you. Counselor Holmes.
Yes, I completely agree with Counselor Vice President Jackson. This is a situation where the goal is to have every department working together for the benefit of the city. So I don't think that it's not one against the other. That should be the goal. And there definitely have been trucks that have gone from one department to another, and then they ran that truck for another 12 years. So did that truck really need to be replaced at that time? I mean, these are the questions that we need to ask in light of the budget and different departments just working together. But they should be working, departments should be working together, mechanics should be working together to benefit the city. So thank you. I appreciate the way you're
Just
doing this.
Trying something new. Counselor Reynolds.
So I'm comfortable with it too. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it can hurt anything. And I love your question, Councilor Cooper, is that what is it really being used for? That maybe it couldn't, or is there another vehicle in the water department that could do whatever job is needed by that one particular machinery until the end of, or the beginning of July. So I'm really comfortable with it. I think everybody's got to, tighten the belt, and we really need to take a look at some of these things that many times we've given them because the money might have been there. Well, it's not. It's just not there. So I appreciate your effort.
Counselor Waterman.
I'm going to build upon what Councilor Reynolds is saying. What I would appreciate very much is getting an idea as you go through the process of how is the water department holding up now? What's not being done? Not having these two trucks, and how could they get by without two, or do they need, or what would it be like if they had one of their choice? And so you can get back to us on that.
We will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments or questions? Oh, my goodness. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to ask for an adjournment at 7:47. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:47. Thank you.
All right. With the state of emergency declared today, Councilor Delicio ended up stuck at work, so we're going to cancel Budget and Appropriations Committee for tonight, and I call for a committee meeting at 6:45 next Tuesday. All right. And then Zoning and Land Use is also canceled.
And License Committee is also canceled.
City Property and Planning Committee is called to order at 7:48. My members present are myself, Councilor Blair, and Councilor Holmes. From the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to declare the following COA copier as surplus and available for disposition. One Ricoh MP 2852 duplexing copier. The serial number is W422L600644, and the condition is fair.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. From the docket of March 17th, 2020, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of a Westinghouse 55-inch HD TV valued at $300 to the Attleboro City Library.
Second.
Thank you. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. And that is all the business the City Property and Claims Committee has, so I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:49.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:49. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Ordinance, Election, and Legislative Matters Committee is canceled this evening.
Yeah, that's it. Are you gonna cancel this year? Thank you.
Yes. Special Committee for Tax Abatement Review is also canceled.
Great, then we're all done.
I'd like to remind you that, well, Councilor Dolan's missing, but we have a Rules and Procedure meeting tomorrow night at 6:30.
Nice. Great, we're all done.
And that is a wrap.
It is a